Hi, this is Jackie Tantillo, and this is Should Have Listened to My Mother. My guest calls himself the Travel Guy. Technically, it's Erik the Travel Guy. His full name is Erik Hastings, and he's the host of the nationally syndicated, award-winning show Beyond Your Backyard on PBS TV. So, without further ado, I'd like to welcome Erik Hastings to Should Have Listened to My Mother.
Is this the Jackie hotline? It sure is. How may I direct your call?
I'd like to go to Morocco, please.
Well, you know, American Airlines was supposed to have a nonstop out of Philly into Casablanca, but because of the COVID, they had to. I don't know what their current plans are for that flight, but I'll get back to you on that.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great. I'll do a stay over anywhere, make a connection anywhere, you know, all that kind of stuff. I'm sure you could do an itinerary for me in a minute. How are you?
I am marvelous, and apparently you're in the market for a rug. Now, here's my problem. You fly all the way over to, let's just call it Tangiers, and what are you supposed to do with that giant carpet? You're supposed to ship that back?
No, you're supposed to hide it in your luggage. No, you're not. You're not supposed to do that. That was only kidding. Well, it's nice to hear your voice.
Well, it's lovely to hear your voice.
Your show is really great, and I'm not just saying that. But what's wonderful about it, and we can get into it a little bit later on. First, we have to talk about your mom.
Sure.
But your show, you're so personable and welcoming, and you are passionate about traveling. We'll talk about that as well. But you want to turn other people onto it. It's not as hard as people think it is.
Well, first of all, if this is how this conversation is going to go, I can do this all day and night. No problem.
In a word, traveling isn't as hard as people think it is, right?
That's exactly right. And I had to learn that for myself. And as far as what you see on the screen, we do spend an inordinate amount of time making sure that we don't do anything that's not authentic. And that includes yours truly. So what you see is what you get, Jackie. That's all
I
I'm gonna
love
say about
it. That's the best part, and I want everybody to watch it. So now, since we are talking about moms on Should Have Listened to My Mother, how about we start off with your mother's name?
My mother's name was Gerri. Geraldine was her name.
There's a couple siblings you have.
That's correct. I, like you, I think I read on your bio, you're one of 27 children or something. I don't know what is going on. I am one of 6. I have 4 older brothers. I'm the youngest boy in the group, and then I have a younger sister. And I was supposed to be a girl after having 4 boys. My mother really wanted a girl, and my name was going to be Erica.
See how it just all works out.
Yeah, Erica the Travel Woman doesn't exactly have the same ring, but I'd take it. I'd follow her. She seems nice.
Because she had her hands full with 3 boys, and she's saying, please, 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 I want a girl.
Right. She had the 4 boys, and...
Oh, yeah, 4 boys.
By the time, she started having children when she was 19. I mean, this is a different time in the course of history, and back in the day, that's what you did. And so my older brothers, my gosh, I think my oldest brother's got to be 60. And then I showed up in 1974, and then my sister was born. I like to say when the world stopped for just a moment, when the Red Sea parted, when the Lord himself delivered the child, the chosen one, my sister, my younger sister, who could do no wrong, still till my mother's death, did no wrong, was born in 1980.
No jealousy or resentment there.
I had a pretty good thing going on from 74 to 80. Mm-hmm. I was the baby, and then she ruined it all.
See how that happens? Were you the favorite son?
Oh, I don't know. My parents didn't really do that. They didn't. One of the things that I think my mom fostered in all of us, and I'd have to check with the rest of the kids and my brothers and my sister about this, but I think they would all agree that they fostered self-reliance. They allowed us to be individuals. They didn't want us to conform to some sort of, wearing the same clothes, Von Trapp family situation. They liked us as individuals, and so we are individual beings, and we grew up that way.
You're very lucky. So they really understood each of your likes and dislikes and each of your individual personalities, your parents.
And I got to say, I always thought that was by design until I had my own children, and I think I figured out that my parents were making it up just as I do on an almost constant basis. So it seemed to work out, in my opinion.
Seemed to work out. Now, you started at a young age. You're on the air as a teenager at a radio station, and you're in a performance art school? Were you dancing and singing and acting?
Oh, yes. Well, again, back to my mom. So, I built a radio station in my house growing up when I was probably, 8, 9. And I started with my Radio Shack, the Realistic brand mixer, and my turntables and my microphone, and I would make mixtapes, and I would pretend that I was on the radio, starting at the age of 5 or 8, about 8 or 9, and then I didn't get my first job on the radio until I was 15.
Oh, very old.
Yes. Yes.
Gosh.
But again, my mom, and I talk about my mom. My mom used to drive me to work on Sunday mornings. I worked at a Christian radio station on Sunday mornings. I used to come in at 5:30 or 5:40 in the morning and turn on the transmitter and start playing, religious programs for 26 minutes at a time from 6 until noon Sunday mornings. And I didn't have a driver's license yet, so my mom had to get up and drive me to work. And it was like 25 miles from my house.
You grew up in the Midwest, right?
I grew up in a town called Des Moines, Iowa. That's right.
So she was dedicated, your mom.
She absolutely was dedicated to, and she recognized early on that I really enjoyed the performing arts and that I didn't know really at the time, I just enjoyed performing, but what I really enjoyed early on was how performance could really change people and how you could make them laugh and you could make them cry, and I really enjoyed that transformative experience of live theater. Or I didn't get into television until I was 17, and that transferred over to the radio as well. That was that's all theater of the mind, as you know, and I really enjoyed that as well in my career path.
Is anyone else in your family performer?
No.
Did your mom work?
Well, she
did. Other
she
than taking care of the family.
Yeah, she was a teacher.
Bravo. It's a minor detail.
Yes. So she, and again, I'm not sure we really understand or truly appreciate and value your teachers until you are older. She was an English teacher, so she taught us all the difference between, 2, 2, and 2, and there, and there, and insisted that we speak proper English. Math, not so much.
What age children did she teach?
I think early in her career she taught high school. That was one of the stories she always told. She didn't like it when we chewed gum at the house. And she didn't like it when her students chewed gum. But she didn't tell them they couldn't. She just pointed out how ridiculous anyone looks when they're chewing gum. That was her way, and nobody chewed gum in her class. So early in her teaching career, it was high school, and then she moved into. She actually taught at business schools. She also was very interested in, to my recollection, she was interested in those who wanted to empower themselves to better themselves. So, she was working with cashiers and bartenders and servers and people who wanted to get a degree in business and was doing night classes, and this is before online was around.
She sounds pretty great to me.
She was absolutely, without a doubt, one of the most remarkable people I've ever known.
Did she have a sense of humor?
She was incredibly funny. She found the joy and humor in life. It's why her friends, and certainly her enemies, well, it's why her friends would say things like, I just love being around her. And, I would ask specifics. I'm very inquisitive and was as a young person. Now I'm just old and jaded, and I don't care what anybody thinks anymore. But I would ask why, and they would be hard-pressed to come up with, solid, good answers. They didn't know why. They just thought that she saw life in a very colorful way.
Where did she get that from?
I don't know. It probably had something to do, if I had to guess. This isn't being recorded, is it? She was an only child growing up. Her dad, my grandfather, was a candy salesman. So there was a room in my grandparents' home up in Aberdeen, South Dakota, that was literally wall-to-wall, floor-to-ceiling candy.
It's like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, right at your grandparents' house.
Yes, the Chiclets, Tootsie Rolls, Bazooka. We're talking about candies here that would have been popular in the late 1960s and into the early 70s, and then I would have arrived, by the time I cared, 1979. So yes, going to to Grandma's house and to Grandpa's house was a lot of fun because of all of that candy, none of which we were allowed to eat, of course. But I think that she spent a lot of time alone growing up. I think that she relied on herself to decide how she wanted to see the world. That would be my guess. So,
do you all have a sense of humor? Because you obviously do. Or
we do.
No, you do.
We do. We actually did a Zoom call the other day. We're spread out all over the country. And, of course, my sister, who has taken on a matriarchal role in our family of organizing a Zoom call. And it was rather humorous. It was just recently, within the last couple of months.
Where would your mom want to go take a trip with you if you could go somewhere tomorrow?
Oh, she loved Walt Disney World. It's funny. I think
I thought you were going to say somewhere a little bit further away than Florida.
It's funny.
Not that there's anything wrong with Walt Disney.
No. I know, but
or California.
I think it's not even necessarily a cultural thing. I think it's more of a generational thing. Like, she was truly happy when the children were happy. Like, because she found joy, she wasn't looking for anything. Her happiness was wherever she was. And so for you to ask where would we go, it's a great question, by the way. It's one of the ways you asked a great question when somebody says that's a great question. A, they're thinking about their answer. That's number one. It gives them a second to think about it. But it forced you to think, which is awesome. But so I think that's why I said Walt Disney World. One of my greatest memories was going to Walt Disney World with my mom and my dad and my siblings, my older brother Patrick. But it wasn't like it was noticeably different. She was happy at home. Does that make any sense?
Totally makes sense. It's her inner being, her essence.
Yeah.
She was happy.
Now, in her later years, she did some amazing trips. She went to New Zealand. She went to India. She did all kinds of crazy trips. And she was an old woman by our standards of colloquialism. But she loved it. Loved it.
Did she ever travel with you when you were producing shows?
No, she died before that.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. It's going to happen to all of us. So,
Did Gerri have noticeable fears or ones that she let you see?
No. No, she lived her life on her terms. And she reminded us that is our job, to decide. You choose. I really didn't want to go to high school all that much. As a matter of fact, I didn't go to high school all that much. They were installing a newfangled computer system when I was a senior in high school. On the last day of my senior year in high school, I was called down to the attendance center simply because they wanted to share with me that the computer had averaged how many classes I actually attended in high school, and it had averaged it out to 2.7 days out of the week for 4 years. And they were shocked that I was managing to graduate
They let you
with a B average. And by the way, one of the things I was doing was Mom and I would decide that we wanted to go play golf. And so we would go play golf in the morning instead of going to school, and then we would go to Chi-Chi's for lunch.
Oh, sounds pretty magical to me. What did you call her? How did you call for your mom?
She was Mom. She was Mom. Always Mom.
When you would have one-on-one conversations, because you obviously spend a lot of time with her, but the more serious ones, like if you knew you did something wrong or she had something on her mind she wanted to talk to you about, was there a particular place you'd wind up being together, whether it's the kitchen table or outside or in the car, where you'd have a serious mom and son?
Listen, I subscribe to the notion that nothing is real until you tell your mom. Now, you could tell your girlfriend, you can tell your husband, you can tell your wife, you can tell your friend, you can tell a phone, it doesn't matter. But when you...
Oh, my gosh. But I'm just...
Hello. We call that low-hanging fruit, Jackie. That's an easy one. I would have said telegram, but I'm not Bob Hope.
Oh my
but
gosh.
when you tell Mom, it's real. And so, any shenanigans that went on, and there weren't many. I was I never had time to do a lot of shenanigans when I was a kid. Like I didn't, I was busy. I enjoyed some of my schoolwork, but I really enjoyed being in theater. I enjoyed being in my dance classes. I enjoyed being on the radio. I enjoyed hanging out with my friends to some degree. I enjoyed working at the Mexican restaurant when I was a kid. I mean, I didn't really have a lot of time for shenanigans. My shenanigans came in different forms. My parents believed I was on drugs in high school because they really were shocked at how much money I could spend. They really didn't understand it. As a matter of fact, they tested me because they were convinced. And they didn't understand that I really spent my money on records, 45s, talk about dating yourself, and flowers for girls, for the shows that they were in, and trying to impress them. And going out to eat. I would spend my money on that.
Well, how did you make because you're working in the radio station, restaurants, you're always working.
Yeah. I always worked. Yeah.
Wow, you had to go do a drug test? Is that what you just said? They got you tested?
And I said that out loud. I don't know if they actually tested me or not. But it was certainly threatened. I mean, it was serious business of where is all this money going? Our money plus you. We know you make money. How could you not have any money? This is ridiculous.
Right.
They couldn't believe it. I didn't care about the cars. I didn't. I had okay cars growing up. But no, it was really spent on food. Not really booze all that much, although I was always the most mature one of my peer group, so I was always the one sent in to buy booze, which I was like, I still look like I'm 11. What are you talking about? I don't, but whatever.
What about the girl thing? Did you ever have conversations about relationships when you were a teen with your mom?
Yes, because I was always around girls because of my dance classes. So when I started dancing when I was 9, I was always around dancers, and I was always around a theater crowd. There's, plenty of girls and women, and so that really didn't. Those conversations really didn't start until I got married. We talked more about women when they were women. When I got married, which I got married late in my. I remember pretty close to her death. I remember she made some comment. And that's the reason I'm sharing that with you, is because I remember I was, complaining about something about my relationship. And I think it was during that's what it was. It was during my divorce. And, that can take a toll on you, and it certainly did on me. And I remember her saying something to the effect of, "What are you talking about? You've always been around women. You've always had a wonderful girlfriend, always, since I was, probably 14 or 15 years old." And I thought that I'd never heard her say that before. And I was like, "Really?" She goes, "Yes."
Don't you remember?
Yeah, she's like, she said, "You've been in wonderful relationships over the years, both as a young person, as a really young person, and as you got older, it was the same, always." I think it was the fear coming out that my divorce was, my marriage was over, and, now I'm whatever, I was 40 or 30, I don't know how old I was.
Right, but she was also assuring you that you will find another down in your path down the line.
This is a pattern here. This is not the end of the road.
Yeah.
I strangely took comfort in that, I think, at the time.
Sure.
But it also was the first time that she ever actually said something like that as overt, as like, "What are you talking about?" Like, everywhere. You always did.
That's kind of cool how that came out. Like, should not even be a doubt in your mind.
Right.
Mom in her subtle ways on her deathbed, and I don't mean to laugh, but oh gosh,
I mean, really,
this is getting bad.
It's about right. It's about, yeah. It was. I don't remember when, but it was maybe a couple of years or a year before. Yeah, she passed away. So yes.
Do you think of her every day, pretty much?
No. I know I'm supposed to say that to make it sound like it's a nice answer to give, but no, I don't. No, every day? No. She raised me very well. She did a phenomenal job. And the only reason that I have evidence of that is that people tell me that I'm an excellent parent. And I didn't even read the damn books. Like, I didn't read any of those parenting books. My wife did. She was a phenomenal a mom, and is, especially when they're young. They're really, needy when they're babies and whatnot. With the breastfeeding, I mean, she, in my opinion, was excellent. But people tell me that all the time, and the only way that I can even agree with it is that, I had good parents, excellent parents, to be exact. Did
she stay out of your personal life?
She was not overbearing in any way, stretch, or form to me or to my children's mom. And I think one of the reasons that she wasn't is because her parents were incredibly overbearing and very controlling.
The plot thickens. So she changed from her experience to raise her children, and you're taking her lead on how you raise your children and how you are raised?
Hopefully it's a combination of both.
Yeah, I think we do that, right? At least we try.
Well, I mean, I have two girls, and they are 8 and 11 as we are here today. And I have a feeling we're in for a real wild ride.
Are they dancing? Are they performing?
Oh, yes, they do very girly things. They, one really likes gymnastics. The other one really likes makeup and making YouTube videos. Yes. They both love being on Instagram, privately, of course.
Good luck with that.
I think that shielding them 100% from it is a terrible disservice.
Yeah, it doesn't work because I want it more.
Correct.
Yeah, so in little bits and pieces. They're kids, right?
Yeah.
They're just like we are kids.
I did scare the daylights out of them recently. I think we're supposed to be talking about Mom, but I can tell you this would be a page out of Mom's playbook. I had to use the dad voice. And it was something that they were doing. One of them was doing online, and I made it very clear that the internet is a much larger space than they are aware of, which is totally fine. That's my job to understand that. My conclusion was, if you can imagine the boogeyman coming down our hallway when you're sleeping to harm you, if you can picture that in your head, and they both, of course, like yes, I go, that's never going to happen. That's not how it works. Where it's going to be is online. It's going to be somebody telling you that you're pretty and that they like your hair. They're not going to show up as some crazy clown. They're going to show up as somebody that you maybe trust or think is just fine. That's the real boogeyman. And to pay attention. Well, that would be something my mom would do.
Very smart advice, right?
Yeah.
Very smart.
Yeah.
And you'll probably have to say it just a few times.
Oh, I should have taped it just so I could play the video. I'll be like, here, remember that one time when I was really mad? Watch it again.
Oh, my gosh. Well, my dad survived. He had 6 daughters and 1 son. So you got 2. I think you'll do great.
Oh, my God. I need to sit down just thinking about that idea. They say that boys break your house. Girls break your heart.
Ah.
Say.
Did your house break? Your mom and dad's house?
Oh, my God. By the time I got there in 74, we're trying to remember that those boys had been around for quite some time. I remember we came back from vacation once, and they left some of the older boys home, and we came back, and the sailboat was gone. And the older one had to admit that he lost it in a poker game.
That's a first. That's a first.
There you go.
And did he get it back? Did he have to go get it back? Oh.
No, because my parents believed in fair.
He lost it. He lost it.
He lost it. He gambled it and he lost it. I'll bet he paid for it, but I don't know the details of that.
Wow. I can only imagine what your house was like. It seemed like it'd be a pretty fun place.
My mom used to say things to me at 7 o'clock in the morning when I didn't want to get out of bed and go to high school. If you don't want to go to school today, you don't have to. And she was a teacher, okay? But she said, but let me make it very clear. Don't come crying to me when you have to repeat 9th grade or 8th grade or 10th grade or 11th grade. Because if you don't get good marks in school, she didn't call them marks, she called them grades. If you don't get good grades in school, it decreases the likelihood and makes it all the more difficult for you to succeed later. But you don't have to go. And sometimes I didn't. But she didn't make me. And that, to me, was always a very valuable lesson of like, well, you will have no one to blame but yourself.
Oh, gosh, that's just the worst. It's so hard when it's just thrown back at you like that.
And if you think a 14-year-old can't handle that, I disagree. I could. My sister could.
Did you get up?
Not all the time, no.
Right. Oh, my goodness.
No. Not all the time.
But she made it up, left it up to you to decide.
She made it very clear on most days when that came up that she would not be there for me to cry on. She would not be attending any conferences. She would not be advocating on my behalf because she would have no excuse. That would rest solely on my shoulders. And her suggestion was to go ahead and just get out of bed and go.
Did she ever have students that she would talk about regularly at home that maybe you got jealous about hearing about?
No.
Did she bring students home ever?
No. I would go to school sometimes and meet her students from her fellow faculty members. No, when she was present, when she was there, that was something else I think I learned. She was present. She was not unavailable when she was physically present. She made it a point. She made dinner. She made lunches. We had evenings. We had some days. Sometimes she worked at night. So, she had a crazy work schedule. But she was present and available to dole out tasks and chores, and in her wonderful passive-aggressive way, things that she would say like, "Why don't you go downstairs and get the clothes from the dryer?" And then, of course, as I was old enough to realize the construction of that sentence, I would answer, "Because I don't want to," which would be met with immediate disdain, and she would rephrase and say, "Go get the clothes from the dryer."
Being present, I think, for your children is key. Because especially today, we're all so distracted. We have our little telephones and we have our computers and we have the laptops, not just the desktop. But being present for your children is key. And it's showing them that you respect them and you love them. Obviously, we're all busy. We have many things on our mind, but that's not our kids' responsibility. That's our responsibility. I'm so glad that we did this little conversation because watching your show is wonderful, and I had a feeling that it was going to be a really entertaining episode of Should Have Listened to My Mother. So I'm really glad that we were able to do this.
Well, the way you handle this subject matter, the minute I saw the title of this podcast, I was like, "Oh my God, what a wonderful title!" Because I love the subject matter. So to be given a platform to talk about my mom is just awesome because she was terrific, and I wish she were here. She would probably agree with about 50% of what I said, which is not bad as an adult.
So are you who you are today because of or in spite of your mother?
Because of. Yeah, absolutely because of.
Beyond Your Backyard or Erik the Travel Guy. If you put any of that into your search engine, you will come up with page after page after page of wonderful videos and written pieces. And your writing is great, by the way.
That's my mom. Yeah, that's my mom. I do the talks. I know you're trying to hang up. That sounds like this is a therapy session for me. It's working out. We haven't done the full hour. I want to get my money's worth. No, that's my mom. That when I do the discussions with the high schools and at the college level, and they ask me my advice, I go, learn how to write. It will help you learn how to speak. That's all my mom. I don't have to all her, but it's mostly her. That's what she taught me.
Thank you, Gerri.
Thank you, Gerri.
It really is great. And I love that you attribute that to your mom. Oh, we've just completed the whole circle. I'm Jackie Tantillo. You've been listening to Should Have Listened to My Mother. And Erik Hastings, Erik the Travel Guy, has been my guest. Thanks again, Erik, for joining us.
You're welcome. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for inviting me. This is very nice of you.
My email is jackie@shouldhavelistenedtomymother.com if you'd like to send me a note. By all means, and we'll see you next week.